You know, it's wild how some love stories just stick with you, like, even years later, you're still thinking about them. And today, we're going deep on one of those Bella and Edward from Stephen E. Meyer's Twilight. I mean, come on. That saga sparked so many debates, fan art, everything. People are still obsessed.
What's really interesting with Bella and Edward, though, is there's the obvious stuff, the whole human vampire forbidden romance. But then there's this whole other layer, like, what is it about them that makes you want to analyze every little thing?
Right. It's not just the supernatural stuff, it's them. Like, okay, Bella moves from sunny Arizona to Forks, Forks, Washington, gloomy weather central. You have to wonder, what's her deal?
That is a question, and it kind of gets at the heart of Bella, right? She's not your typical perky main character. Like, she's introspective, drawn to the kind of, I don't know, moody stuff, almost like she wants something more than the everyday, not exactly fitting in, is she?
And that's so relatable. So many people feel a little out of place.
Totally. Even Bella being awkward, tripping over air, it makes her real. She owns it instead of pretending to be perfect. In a world of like flawless YA heroines, that's kind of her
Yeah,
superpower.
totally. Remember that bit where she's like, I'm a magnet for accidents. It's funny, but also, ouch, you feel that vulnerability.
Exactly. And newsflash, that vulnerability. Total catnip for Edward. Speaking of Edward Cullen, whole different ballgame. Brooding intensity, old school charm. The guy's a walking contradiction.
Right. Like he walked out of a gothic romance, but also, dude's over 100 years old, stuck that way. And with these powers that are amazing, but also must be so isolating.
Textbook tragic hero, right? Incredible power, but so much guilt, loneliness, and that constant fight for control. Don't forget, he hears everyone's thoughts,
Hmm?
except
Bella, oh my gosh, can you imagine? Constant thoughts, 24/7. No wonder her silence is like a breath of fresh air to him.
it's this blank space he can't figure out, and that drives him crazy in a good way. Everyone else, he's got him pegged. Bella, she throws him off, challenges him like no one else.
We want what we can't have, right? Though there's also the whole scent thing. Intoxicating to him, almost too much. That biology lab scene, he almost jumps out his skin, it's that strong.
That scene is key. It shows how much Bella disrupts Edward, even physically. It's not just, oh, she smells nice, though that's there. It's like her scent represents how she messes with his whole world, makes him feel this primal thing he's spent a century burying.
So way deeper than just liking her perfume, she's temptation, losing control, which gotta be scary and exciting.
100%. It plays into his worst fears, hurting her, the one person he'd move heaven and earth to protect.
Which is honestly a lot for a relationship to handle. All that desire, but also fear.
For sure, it's part of why people are obsessed. It's fairy tale romance, finding your person, but then there's this real danger lurking underneath, this push and pull between love and loss.
Totally. Okay, so we've got Bella, the relatable introvert who wants something more, and Edward, the complicated hero battling himself. How do they connect so strongly? What's the glue?
Well, that's where things get really good, and we'll dive into all that right after this quick break.
And we're back, diving deeper into Bella and Edward's world. Okay, so Bella's a mystery to Edward, mentally and physically, we've established that. But what else is he drawn to? It's more than just the initial spark, right?
It's her humanity, plain and simple. Edward's immortal, he can only watch life happen. Bella, she's living at the simple stuff, the joy, the pain. And he's drawn to that. She reminds him what it means to feel, even when it hurts.
Oh, like that scene where Bella cuts her finger and he's fighting his instincts not to, well. Intense, it shows how much they're at odds, even with something small like that.
Exactly. Her blood, which should be like the ultimate temptation, it becomes this symbol of him fighting himself. He wants it, but it means potentially destroying what he loves most.
Talk about pressure in a relationship, right? Feeling like you're this fragile thing your partner might break? Yikes.
It's a big theme in the books. Choice. Free will versus destiny. Edward's constantly battling himself to keep Bella safe, while she's the one drawn to the dangerous stuff.
Defying the odds, both of them. It's like their very beings are saying, don't, but they choose to anyway.
Right. And that's a powerful message. Seeing each other, flaws and all, and loving anyway. But then there's the whole unreadable mind thing. Not just a plot device. It's deeper than that. Because even though Edward can't hear her thoughts, Bella's not exactly shy, is she?
True. She challenges him, calls him out on his moodiness, stands her ground. No fear, even knowing he's a vampire. Pretty refreshing. She connects with the person, not the supernatural. That's got to be validating after a century of people freaking out or worshiping you.
100%. He can finally let his guard down with her, be vulnerable, and she doesn't try to change him. Sanctuary, almost.
Inner peace, which he probably hasn't had in centuries.
Yeah.
But can't forget the elephant in the room. Jacob, Team Edward, Team Jacob.
Mm.
Fans still debate this.
Ah, yes, the love triangle. Jacob's warm, connected to Bella's human world, total opposite of Edward's intensity. He's the safe choice, familiar. Edward's the dangerous unknown.
Bella's caught between two lives, almost wanting normalcy, but then there's this pull to the extraordinary.
Exactly. Makes her more complex, right? It's not just two guys, it's two lives she's choosing between.
And she gets to decide, which is huge. Owning that choice, whatever the cost, that's a powerful message right there.
Absolutely. But there's this other layer too, the symbolism. The meadow, for example.
Oh, the meadow. So much goes down there. That's where he reveals himself, all sparkly in the sunlight. Iconic.
Huge scene. But yeah, symbolic too. That meadow's their safe space, away from both the human and vampire worlds. Like, it's just them.
Their own little world where the rules don't apply. And you know what else fits with that? Symbolism. The music. Bella's lullaby. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Edward's all about expressing himself through music, since words are hard for him sometimes.
Yeah.
The lullaby, it's his love for Bella, but also that melancholy side of him, wanting what he can't have.
Like a peek into his soul, yeah.
Yeah.
Shows the vulnerability under all that brooding. Adds another layer to them, for sure.
Totally. Those little glimpses into each other, that's where the connection gets deeper.
So we've got Bella's appeal, Edward's complexity, the Jacob thing, symbols, music. There's a lot here. Way more than meets the eye.
It's layers on layers. Fantasy, romance, but then real human stuff underneath it all.
Totally. But one question keeps bugging me. What if Edward could read Bella's mind? Would it be the same? Would there even be that mystery? We'll get into all that after a quick break, so don't go anywhere.
And we're back one last time digging into Bella and Edward's world. We've talked about what makes them tick, why they're drawn to each other, but there's always more to uncover, right?
Always. Like, we touched on Bella finding herself, but think about it, that's tied to her becoming a vampire, which is huge EE.
Oh, absolutely. It's easy to get lost in the romance, but her decision to change, that changes everything. Not just for them, but for her. For sure. And it's not like she jumps right in. Throughout the books, you see her torn between being human, normalcy, family, all that, and then there's this pull to be something more, something Edward represents.
It's almost like there's two Bellas. One who loves her books, a simple life, and then this other Bella, craving adventure, Edward's world.
And that's what makes her interesting. She's fighting with herself, trying to figure out who she is within all this, not just following Edward blindly.
Which, again, so important, especially for younger readers. It's okay to want what's different, even if it's scary or goes against the grain. Bella reminds us of that.
Totally. Becoming a vampire, it's like a metaphor, you know? Shedding who you're supposed to be and becoming who you really are, even if it means leaving stuff behind.
Wow, yeah, that's deep. It's not just fangs and immortality. It's her saying, this is me, take it or leave it, even if it messes with people's expectations.
Exactly. That whole defying expectations thing, that's universal. Doesn't matter if you're Team Edward, Team Jacob, or never even thought about vampires. We get it.
Speaking of, the Team Edward, Team Jacob thing, it's like Bella had these two paths in front of her. Jacob, he's stable, normal, what she thinks she should want, maybe.
Right, he's the safe choice. But she's drawn to the intensity, the mystery of Edward. Can't blame her. He's got that in spades.
The unknown is exciting. Though, let's be real, Edward comes with baggage. Vampires, werewolves, always on the run.
Exactly. But those dangers, they make the love story better. The stakes are higher. It's love worth fighting for, even against nature itself, you know?
Us against the world, but like times 1,000. And I think that's why people love it. We all want that love that consumes you, changes you.
Definitely. We want that person who gets us, flaws and all, who'll fight for us even when we don't think we deserve it.
And honestly, in the world today, all messed up as it is, that kind of love, even in a fantasy book, it's comforting.
Totally. That's the power of stories like Twilight. Yeah, there's vampires and stuff, but it's really about love, loss, who we are, the choices we make. Those are real.
And those things stick with you. We've only scratched the surface today, but hopefully this makes people think about Twilight in a new way.
Exactly. That's what good books do. They make you think even after you finish them, spark conversations. Makes you want to reread and find more.
So well said. This was great. To everyone listening, go back to Twilight. See what you discover after today. You might surprise yourself. Until next time, happy reading. And remember, the best love stories are the ones that stay with you, make you think and feel long after the story's over.